Oh my God, something actually happened. All right, season two, episode four of House of the Dragon finally hit. And finally, after three episodes, something finally happens. On the fourth episode, we finally get a dragon fight at the very end in the last 20 minutes of the episode. And I must say, the last 20 minutes of this episode was the best 20 minutes of Game of Thrones House of Dragon that I've seen so far. But did the rest of the episode actually make up for all the nothing that happened over the past 3 weeks? I don't know, but let's talk about the episode a little bit and kind of go through it. Again, my reviews of the episodes are not point for point, all out reviews. I just kind of talk about the things that stood out to me, the things that I liked, the things that I didn't like, and the things that I do better. And for the first time this season, there's not too many things that I would have done differently or things that I didn't like about the episode. First thing, the show starts off with Daemon in this dream state. And that's all weird and that's all fun and everything with Damon and going back and forth in these dream states and stuff. But the thing that he does in this dream state, when he sees young Rhaenyra, he actually cut off her head during this dream. And I think that says a lot about his mind state right now, because this is a person that he is supposed to love. This is his wife. He is the prince and she is the queen, and they're supposed to be together. And for him, even in his dream state, to cut off her head and to do it so quickly and so, just matter of factly, I think that there's something wrong with that. And that lets me know that Damon may betray her later on in the season. Now, remember, I haven't read the books. I don't know the things that's going on. I don't know what's going to happen, but that lets me know that Damon isn't right in the head. And I don't think he's very loyal to Rhaenyra right now. If he is willing to kill her, even though it's only in his dreams, is still something that really worries me for her future and for their future relationship. What else happened in the episode? Did anyone catch the fact that Alicent dropped the dragon and it broke? And I thought that that was very good foreshadowing by the writers to let us know that there was going to be the death of a dragon later on in the episode. And I'm not talking about the queen who never was as dragon, Meleys. I'm talking about the king's dragon, Sunfire. Now, after she dropped that, she had a nice conversation with Littlefoot. And Littlefoot, Lord Larys, came in and he gave her some very good advice. Again, he is a creepy guy, but he is really fishing around. He really knows Alicent very, very well, and he knows everything that's happening. I think he's a really good player in this Game of Thrones. And again, I think between him and some of the other people there, they actually have a really good think tank and they're ready for war. I think they're more prepared than they've ever been. And I actually think that they might even have a chance, contrary to something that I said before. I think that they might actually have a chance to win this thing with the minds that they have in the room now. And who else saw Alicent with the whole my body, my choice situation going on here? I'm like, oh my God, she sure did drink down that Plan B drink very quickly. She was like, I am not having Sir Kristen Cole's babies. That will not happen. Never, ever in a day. So just seeing these things kind of line up. And again, it's all the intrigue and things that we've been seeing throughout the first three episodes. If there had been more action before and things happening before in the other episodes, this would have been great. But all the way up through this point, we had not had any real battles yet. We hadn't had any dragon fights or anything like that yet. So the beginning part of this episode was very, very hard to watch. Although the stuff is interesting and stuff is happening, it's just like, I'm going through this again. Again, for 40 minutes, we go through this more, what we've gone through for 3-4 hours in the previous three episodes, well, more than 3 hours even. And now we're going through almost this whole episode the exact same way. And I just feel like it's just a waste of our time. But does that end fight make up for it? Well, let's continue to talk about it. I did like the fact that when King Aegon went to his mother, Alicent, and he sat down and had a talk with her, she really put him in his place. And I almost thought he was going to take her advice. I mean, he went in there complaining, they're not listening to me. They're not listening to me. You know, Joffrey Jr., the same old stuff. And she put him in his place. She was like, these people have earned their position. And I really thought that once you got the crown, that you would just come in and listen to them and learn from them. But no, you kicked out Otto. You've, made decisions that were horrible and killed the rat catchers out there and just really hurting our campaign. And I thought that he was going to listen. I thought that he was actually going to hear her when she said, do what we need you to do, which is absolutely positively nothing right now. We don't need you. Just sit back and let us win this war for you. You'll get all the credit. Everything will happen for you. You just sit back and let us win it. And he still, it looked like he was going to listen. I was like, maybe there's hope for this young man yet. But he sat around there and he got impatient and he knocked that dragon down. And again, he knocked it off the table and it broke and it shattered, foreshadowing the death of his dragon. Again, that's twice in one episode. I guess that's two dragons that they foreshadowed dying. And sure enough, in this episode, two dragons did die. And then we come up on Sir Kristen Cole. This guy is just becoming such a jerk. I'm so tired of him. We wanted to root for him last year. I always thought that he was just caught up in a situation that he had no control over. I thought that he was an honorable man, just in a impossible situation for him. But now I don't absolutely zero sympathy for this guy. He is absolutely horrible. Oh my God, he's out there killing people, chopping off heads, making people submit to him. And I know that part of that is his job, but he's just walking around with this smug attitude about it and is absolutely horrible. I think one of two things are going to happen. He's also not being very careful either. He's either going to win in glory for Allison and the Greens, or he's going to die in glorious fire. But either way it goes, it's going to be a glorious end for this guy. And I think a lot of people are going to be cheering for him when it happens. Because I don't, he's going to die, and he's going to die by dragon fire. I'm willing to bet. They're really setting him up to be a real villain, a real unlikable character. I don't know if they're going to try to do the whole Jaime Lannister arc with him, where you start off just really hating a guy and then he tries to redeem himself later on. I hope they don't. That's already been done. Let's keep him evil. Let's keep him going in the wrong direction, and then let's kill him with a dragon or something later on. I think that would be the best way for him to go. And again, everybody's favorite queen, Queen Rhaenyra, was ready to get on her dragon and go and fight. But there's one thing that we have to realize about her wanting to go and fight, and the way that King on the other side wanted to go and fight. She wanted to go and fight to protect her people. She felt like that her people did not have experienced enough dragons and experienced enough dragon riders to go out. So she doesn't want any of her people to die, and she's willing to give of herself. She wanted to go out and fight, but the queen that never was stepped up to the plate. Man, this lady is the best. The queen that never was, she stepped up. She says, you know what? I'm going to take on this fight. I'm going to take my dragon Melees out, and we're going to go out here. And she was going to go meet Kristen Cole on the battlefield for her queen. She knew that she was the only person that could do it. Her dragon was the most experienced dragon and the biggest dragon that they have. And it's better for her to go out than Rhaenyra to go out as the queen and as everyone else is rallying under her, because if something happened to Rhaenyra, they would lose all of their support. So she gets on her dragon Melees and they go out to battle. And it starts off really good. She goes out there and she's fighting, and then the king comes. And when the king comes from the other side, he wasn't supposed to be out there, but he came out there anyway. She had the upper hand in that fight. Her dragon was stronger than Sunfire, and we could see that throughout the entire fight. And it was a good fight. Now something was happening, and I was fully invested. And while they were fighting, we see Prince Aemon go ahead and take off on his big dragon, Vhagar. And Vhagar is just lumbering through the air. This big dragon. No, I don't know how they're going to beat Aemon in the air. If you're going to kill Aemon and stop Vhagar from killing everybody on the black side, you're going to have to kill Aemon on the ground. But while Cyclops is in the air on that big dragon, I don't think there's no force, no dragon, even if you get multiple ones, they will not be able to stop him. And he easily takes out both of the dragons. He took out Joffrey Jr. He did not care. He was trying to kill everybody up there in the air, and his dragon just did whatever he said. When he said Dracarys and that dragon fired and set Sunfire on fire and he was falling, I was like, Aemon does not care. This kid is a killer, and he's a great bad guy for the show. I understand that Rhaenyra and Alicent are going back and forth, and they're the two people that we're kind of supposed to be heads up against each other. And then we have Joffrey Jr., who's supposed to be a big bad guy, just a bad guy. But I think Aemon is the true bad guy because we saw earlier in the episode that he also has a cunning mind. He was also coming up with the plan, and he was also in communications with Sir Criston Cole. Not only is he vicious, but he also has a keen mind, and he's a thinker, and he's a strategist. And not only does he have all that, but on top of all that, he has the biggest and most powerful nuclear weapon in the universe right there at his fingertips, and he is willing to use it. He is the only person in the show that's killed anyone in dragon fights. He took the prince out, he took Rhaenyra's son out last season, and now he's taken out the queen who never was, who, by the way, y'all, let's talk about her a little bit. Let's talk about Queen Rhaenys, okay? She should have been the queen, okay? She should have been the queen before her brother. She is everything. She is smart. She is a strategist. She has a level head about her. She keeps everything in perspective. She doesn't allow her feelings and her emotions to overtake her. She always makes the right and just decisions. So in this fight, she knew her and her dragon would not win against Aemon and that big beast that he flies. But she continued to circle around. Just the look on her face when they were flying, and she could have flown away, but she looked over at Aemon and she said, attack to her dragon, knowing that there's no way she would have won this fight. She knew that she was flying into her death. I feel like she knew it even before she left, the way she said goodbye to her husband and the way that she was talking to her dragon. I believe that she just kind of knew that this was going to be her final flight. And she went out like a true queen. She went out like a true boss. She would not back down. She had the perfect ending for her, just showing her falling down with her dragon that she loved so much, going down to her death. I just think that it was absolutely wonderful how she never quit. She told the dragon to attack, and then she could have gotten away again, or she could have at least ran, but she circled back around. If you did not notice it, watch it again. She circles back around to come back around to him. And Aemon's big dragon Vhagar has this ability that even though it's the biggest thing out there, it really can sneak up on people. It was hiding because she came over that castle. She came over that castle and it came up under her and got her. I'm like, how does that big lumbering thing, whenever it flaps its wings close to the ground, all of the trees and stuff move? I think that's kind of an inconsistency because when he's flying through the air, he's so big that everything moves. Everyone should always know exactly where he is, including this particular fight. When he wasn't even in the air yet, the king of that fortress or whatever that was being attacked was looking out like he heard something. It was like he heard movement because that dragon is so huge and so humongous that he knew that something was over there, even though he didn't know exactly what it was. So how could something that's that big that you can tell from miles away just when it begins to move, because it's so big, how does it sneak up on you? How does it come up under you like that? Or how does it come down from above without you noticing it? I just feel like that's impossible. That cannot happen. But they did it twice now in this show. How it's kind of like The Walking Dead, where all the zombies are supposed to make noise, but in every episode almost, there's always that surprise zombie, that one zombie that instead of walking around, it's like sneaks up on him and all of a sudden he's there. How does this dragon sneak up on you? Why didn't we see it? And the last season, we saw that dragon behind a whole castle, and the castle was smaller than the dragon was. When the dragon stood up, it put its shadow all over the huge castle. Well, this castle didn't seem like it was that much bigger than that other castle was. How did this dragon hide from Rhaenys and then take her from by surprise from the bottom? I don't get it. I don't understand it. I think it's just an inconsistency in writing, and it's something that writers do in order to make things spicy and to make things interesting. But it is what it is. With few exceptions of little things like that that had me scratching my head, I still think that this was a really good episode. Now, does this episode make up for all of the fussing and griping and everything that I've been doing for the rest of the season? I don't think so, but it is a good start. Now that the fighting has started, if we could continue this momentum that we've gotten with this episode, because this was a very good episode. And just like I critique when critique is due, I also give credit when credit is due. And I believe that the writers get a lot of credit here. I believe that the director gets a lot of credit here. I believe that that dragon fight was one of the best dragon fights I've seen in the entire Game of Thrones series. I believe that if we continue this going forward, we can salvage this season and actually have a pretty good season two on our hands. Now, do I think they're going to do it? No. I'm willing to bet that because for budgetary reasons, this is going to be the big fight, and then we're not going to see any more dragon fights, any more dragons for the rest of the season, all the way until either the penultimate episode, which is the second to last episode, or the last episode, depending on how they want to do it. But I just think that if your budget is that small where you can't do this show right, then don't do the show. Or just give it a bigger budget. HBO Max, you can afford it. Give it the budget that it deserves so that we can have a really good show. You know, we don't have to have such a big fight. We don't have to have three dragons like we did in this one, but let's have a dragon fight. Let's have them on the dragons. Let's see the things happening other than just all the intrigue. Let's actually get some actual action in these last few episodes so that we can stay engaged, so that we can stay excited about the show. This is a great start to the second half of this season. This was a great battle. I think the death that happened was absolutely awesome. You showed it. We saw it coming, and that's okay because it was so well executed. I believe that you all did an excellent job, and that's what I think about this particular show. So kudos to HBO Max. Kudos to the director of the episode. Kudos to the cast for doing an outstanding job. Finally, something happened. You all tell me what you think. I want to know what you thought about the episode. Did you think it was a great episode, or do you think it was still lacking? Do you think that the action in this episode made up for all the slowness in the other episodes? I don't know, but I want to know exactly what you think. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next week for another House of the Dragon episode. Bye.